Yo.
Gangy.
RTP gang, what's good with y'all?
We got Manzo in the building this time. You already know what's going on.
Gang, yo, we got Manzo in the cup. Man, I'm just super excited to be right here, along with my two great co-hosts, J-Lo and Super, and just talk hoops with y'all, share my love and knowledge with the game.
Absolutely, bro. We super excited for you to be here, bro. It's our second episode. Last week, we apologized to y'all for our audio not being the greatest. You can blame the studio on that one. But we're back, we're better. And yeah, man, first video is posted up on YouTube if y'all haven't seen it. It's at Run the Point on YouTube, and then at Run the Point on IG. We got some videos, some clips from last week posted. If y'all want to check that out, some hot takes. And yeah, man, just excited to be back, man.
Yeah, man. What's it called? Super excited. Can't say anything less about Manzo. Um, Manzo's here. We're here. We got predictions today for the season. We have also a debate that was brought up in last episode, and we talked for like 10 seconds. And so I wanted to bring it on to the next segment for this episode. So super excited for that. Can't wait to share this with y'all. Sorry about not having it live, but this is the way we're gonna make it work. Super fun. Glad everyone's here. And yeah, for today's segment, the first segment we got today, we're gonna do regular season predictions and more actually by the end of the regular season, who finishes 1 through 10, top 10 seeds in the East and the West. And we're gonna start with the last couple teams to make the play-in. We could do like a round robin kind of thing. We'll have Zoe start, move on to Supa, and then me. Let's do the West first. We'll finish the West and then move on to the East.
For sure. Just a little something for the audience too. This is just regular season standings. So if you hear something and you press that your team is a little bit lower or something, just know that's not exactly where we think is going to end. But the regular season is a different beast than the playoffs.
Absolutely.
The factors that play into it, man. That's why you be seeing these experienced 7, 8 seeds beating these young 1 and 2 seeds. There's just certain things that happen in the regular season that can't predict what's going to happen in the playoffs. So yeah, you want to get into it, bro?
Oh yeah, let's get right into it. So predicting that there's no injuries, obviously injuries are going to happen. I got my 9 and 10 spot on the West, going to the Suns at 9, and then I got the Kings at 10, representing the Pacific Division.
The Kings.
I'm really high on the Kings, man. I like the addition of Sabonis. He's an all-star player. I think him and Fox are just going to glue well together. I'm excited to see that team. I think Fox has a big year. He takes a big leap this year, and he becomes an all-star. I believe so.
Absolutely. We talked last week about, hot take Ben Mathurin being Rookie of the Year. I think right now the two front runners for Rookie of the Year, if we're being honest with ourselves, it's got to be Paolo, and then I'd say Keegan Murray, man. Keegan Murray's a pro. He's looking like somebody that's going to be able to average 14, 15 a game for them consistently. You put him next to Sabonis, he stretches the floor. He don't got to clog the paint. I like that Kings pick. I think the Kings are good. Definitely looking forward to seeing them play.
And a lot of people thought Jaden Ivey should have been that pick. I think he's gonna have a big year too. But I think Keegan Murray, he does look like a legit pro. He looks ready right now.
Absolutely.
I think I don't have the Kings in mind, like making the play-in for me, even just because the West is so tough. But you could see the Kings are like trying to win now with the pick, with the additions. Kevin Herter, Malik Monk's there. They're definitely building around Fox. I think they made that conscious effort last season when they was making the moves and all. But yeah, I mean, they should be trying to win, which is fun. Hopefully, the Kings have a good year. Who you got in the play-in, Super?
I have at 9 the Grizzlies and at 10 the Blazers. I say, like I said, man, I like the Kings. They're just two things, man. The Kings, the first thing with them is they're the Kings, you know? They're the Kings. I'm just gonna say it, they're the Kings. And then the second thing is, bro, I feel like they're there, like knocking on the door, but they're not there all the way. You know, I think if they would have kept like a Buddy Hield, that would have helped them make it. Um, and then they let go of Reese, which was tough. I just at all those other positions, I think they got good guys, but when it comes to teams that's gonna make the playoffs, like that 10 seed, I have the Blazers. Dame is far and away the best player out of those two teams if you're comparing the Blazers and the Kings. And I think last year we all know that Dame wasn't healthy. He was just having a slump. It was a tough goal for him. I like Simons. Simons probably
Jeremy
going.
Grant.
Yeah, exactly. I think Simon's going to average 18, 19 for them. I think Grant's going to do the same thing. I think on defense, he's versatile. And, Nurkic has always been a 14, 15, and 12 guy. He's tough. And then, they got Josh Hart. Josh Hart's good, man. Josh Hart's good. He's a winner. He makes winning plays. So I think, like that experience alone, is something that's going to put them ahead of Sacramento. And then at 9, I had the Grizzlies simply off the fact that I like the Grizzlies, man, but no Jaren is going to be tough for a while. Jaren solves a lot of their problems because you look at them and he's one of my favorite players, man. Just because they go small, they playing Jaren out there. They go big, they're putting Jaren out there. They want to hit threes, they're putting Jaren out there. They want to play defense, they're putting Jaren out there. Now you expect like a guy like, Brandon Clark is good, but he's like 3, 4 inches shorter. He don't really shoot the rock like that. He don't protect the rim, and it's tough because that's that's Ja. It's his second or third biggest weapon right next to Desmond Bain. You got two snipers out there that are out there making plays on defense. So not have him is going to be tough. And then I just don't think that what they did last year is sustainable with the roster they have right now. They won a lot of games last year with not that much talent compared to the rest of the top teams in the West. But we're going to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I have the Blazers at that 10 seed, and for me at 9 is the Suns. Same
Mm-hmm.
as I think that's interesting. You have the Grizzlies not making, or at least making the play-in, but not in the top 8. I
That's why
think
I mentioned that.
yeah,
Like where I think they'll end up is not indicative of like playoffs or whatever. It's just regular season.
hmm
Oh yeah, for sure.
um, I have the Grizzlies actually at the 7 seed. When it's
Hmm.
all done, I think they fall too. That was a lot of games they won last year. It was fun. It was like probably the I think for me it was probably the most fun like storyline the whole year. It's like, whoa, wow, like where did the Grizzlies come from? And like Jaws having a top 10 year, like player wise. And so I think he replicates that. I think the Grizzlies do fall though. I have them at 7, and then for me at the 8 spot I have the Pelicans. Um, and like I super excited to see the Pelicans too. Zion's back, healthy, hopefully. Bi looks. I mean, he looks homeless, but he looks like great. That's usually a good sign too. That's usually a great sign when a player starts like not caring about their haircut and all. CJ's there. They're gonna be super fun to play with on 2K and super fun to watch and like at all times. So who do you got like 8 and 7?
8 and 7. I got T Wolves at 8 and the Pelicans at 7. I think both of these teams are gonna make big noise. I like the Rudy Gobert addition. It adds depth. It was pretty questionable. Like, why would they do that? But it's kind of starting to make sense to me, knowing that Cat could stretch out the floor. I think Ant's gonna have a big year, All-Star for sure. And the 7 Pelicans are gonna have a big year with Zion and Bi leading the way. CJ. Um, who's their center? Is it
JV.
Valanciunas?
Valanciunas, yeah.
They have
Yeah,
Hayes.
that's pretty. I love the 2 young players and man, Trey Murphy, and then you have the defender. What was his name?
Jose Alvarado. Come on now.
Yeah,
Don't play
Jose
with my boy.
Alvarado. No, the
And
other
Herb Jones.
Herb, right? Herb.
Herb Jones.
And
Herb
Herb
Jones,
Jones. You
man.
got
I
both
love
of
Herb
them.
Jones. He's a hooper for sure.
Uh-huh.
So I like what the Pelicans got going on. They're gonna make some noise for sure.
Absolutely. Y'all probably waiting. Y'all probably waiting for me to put the Pelicans where y'all have them, and y'all gonna have to keep waiting. Y'all gonna have to keep waiting. At 7, I got the Wolves. Um, I I have mixed feelings about the Gobert trade, and I gotta see how Cat plays next to him because in a perfect world, they go to the Western Conference Finals, maybe even the NBA Finals, with Cat averaging like 28 a game and Ant-Man averaging like 28. You feel me? Like something stupid, you know. But Gobert, as good as he is, he still has limitations on offense, and they got rid of a lot of their depth, and they got rid of a lot of important players. And I think people pass that by, you know. Jared Vanderbilt, me and JLo talk about this all the time. Jared Vanderbilt's one of the most underrated players in the NBA right now with the stuff he does. You know, he legitimately guards like 2 through 5, rebounds the ball, and he doesn't care about scoring. Pat Bev, you already know he went to the Lakers. That's a huge addition for the Lakers, a huge loss for the Wolves. And then, you know, you just take a look at the rest of their roster, like, you know, who's their point guard, you know, like I get it, they have D'Lo, but like D'Lo's prime was when he was playing the 2, you know. He was a combo guard. He didn't have to bring the ball up. He was playing off ball, you know, averaging 20 something a game. And I like him, but playing next to Ant, you know, Ant's a guy that can give you 40 whenever he wants, you know, so
Yeah.
he's gonna have to be a playmaker. And then, you know, I don't got too much to say about the Suns other than the fact that like I just don't think the same will to win is there. CP's clock is ticking. Aiton doesn't want to be there. You know, Monty Williams he's a very good coach, but like, can he coach in the playoffs? I don't know. Especially after last year, you know, and then it's not very encouraging seeing them lose to an NBL team in the preseason. You know, I get it's preseason, but like all those starters played like 22, 23 minutes. Like the game should have been over. Like the Thunder played them the next day and beat them by like 40, that same team, you know. So like where exactly is the will to win? And we're gonna see. They could end up higher because they have talent, but I just I think they have a drop this year. I do.
Well, just adding on to that NBL thing, man, I think that just proves how much hoopers are in this world. You know, they're
Absolutely.
overlooked, and I think that was a dope that they had won that game.
Absolutely, man.
Cool. A lot of people were woken up like you don't have to be in the NBA to be a hooper. Like there's hoopers out in the world. Show you can find them all across any city you go to.
Hell yeah, bro. The NBL, in my opinion, I think that's the second best league in the world right now. There's a reason why, you know, there's a reason why these pros are going to the NBL for a year. You feel me? And Australia does a really good job at keeping their talent there. You know, so while some of these guys that are top notch in these European countries are going to the league, trying to stay as long as they can, Australia is keeping guys, you know, and they can
Yeah,
pay them. So they have a lot of talent out there, bro. A
for
lot,
sure.
lot, lot.
Um, yeah, I think going backtracking to the Suns, it's called. I have them outside my 8. Zoe does too. I think because you mentioned it, like Aiden not wanting to be there. That's like so noticeable. And I think
Mhm,
they're just on, like Crowder's already gone. They're just on the verge of like really collapsing completely,
mhm,
and which sucks because I think they have like one of the best backcourts in the league, like arguably the best backcourt in the league.
mhm.
And like I love Book, I love CP, and I think Monty's a good coach. But yeah, no, it's tough. I don't see how. Like I think they don't win this much this year,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I like the Wolves though. I have them at 6 for me.
Hmm.
Them at 6, and I'm also going to throw my 5 seed in there. At 5, I have the Lakers. Um, and I'm super first about the Wolves. What's it called? We talked about Gobert. We talked about Cat. Ant is probably going to have that year, I think, where he's going to be
Yeah.
like, whoa. Similar to, I think, what we saw with Jaw last year. We
Hmm.
already kind of saw it with Ant, but he's going to average probably like 25, 26.
Absolutely.
Um, and like he's really, I think the Wolves know that too. They
Hmm.
definitely knew that when they gave all those pieces to get Gobert, to like let's get a big guy to just block everything once as that second line of defense.
Hmm.
But like you mentioned, that D'Lo thing's kind of awkward for me because I do like D'Lo. I think it's sort of a fit in or fit out situation for him this
Yeah.
year. Or if it doesn't work, bro, like they're gonna have to move on because I think they doubled down on Ant and Cat being their guys.
Yeah.
Um, so I have them at 6, and then Lakers at 5. I'm a Lakers fan, um, and it kind of hurt putting them a little bit lower than I wanted to. They're gonna surprise people, and I feel like they might surprise me because we could talk all day about the Lakers because they just have so much to talk about. I feel like between like 4 players, but I think AD comes back and he has a like the year where like people remember that he's Anthony Davis,
Mhm.
like defensive player of the year candidate. We'll see. I hope that's what Darvin Ham brings out of him. That's what I'm really looking forward to. Seeing that like dog out of him from Darvin Ham, from Pat Bev, from dudes just holding each other accountable this year.
Mhm.
I think Russ, that's still awkward, but I think Ham's gonna figure it out. I actually do like him a lot and stuff I see in like interviews and all. I think he's gonna have a good year. LeBron's still there, and if you have LeBron, we're gonna have a chance to win. And with
You
some
always got a chance to win with Big
exactly,
Brown on that team.
with some competent players around him too. So I'm excited to see that. Who you got at 6 and 5 though?
6, I got Dallas, which is I feel like was a bit low considering I think that they may make the Western Conference Finals, but I think just the way that the season plays out, I don't know if Luka can continuously just have playoff type performances all regular season. I
Mhm.
love the Christian Wood addition. You still have Spencer Dinwiddie. I don't think Jalen Brunson is a big loss because of Dinwiddie still being there. Um, so yeah, I got the Mavs at 6, and then at 5, I got Memphis. I think he just continues to be Ja, and I know Jaren Jackson. It's a big missing piece, but we seen what they could do last year when guys went down. I mean, them dudes is ready. They're out there. They're hungry, and it's always next man up, stepping up. So I like what Memphis got going on, and I think that with that experience under their belt, I think they just keep getting better.
Mhm. That's fair. That's definitely fair. Um, at my 6, I have the Lakers. Um, and I think that this was probably like the pick that I was most comfortable with, in the Western Conference, just because one thing about LeBron, man, LeBron doesn't need to be, he doesn't have to have home court advantage. He doesn't have to have anything to win in the playoffs. But I do think he's tired of playing in the play-in, and having to worry about, those extra 1 or 2 games that he got to deal with. And, they still have studs on their team, bro. Like Anthony Davis has been awful the past couple of years, but it's only because he hasn't been available, you know? And the best, like I said before, the best ability is availability. Um, so not being able to play has been tough. I think he comes back. I think his body, I think he's been working on his body. I think that'll be good for them. I think, like you said, Pat Bev will be great for them. Russ is an all-time great, bro. He's not gonna be awful again this year. He might not average a triple double. He might not average 25 a game with 12 assists, but he's gonna be good for them. And then him is gonna be great. You get guys to defend. They got some younger guys that'll go out there and, chase guys around on defense. So I like their roster much, much more than I did last year. Um, shout out to the Lakers too. They just signed another kid, and shout out to Massachusetts. They just signed a kid, LJ Figueroa from Lawrence, Massachusetts. I'm from Massachusetts. I got a few guys in Lawrence. I think LJ will be great for them. They got another kid from New Hampshire, Wenyon Gabriel. They got a kid from Rhode Island, Cole Swider. So New England getting a lot of love in LA right now. So I'm happy for those guys. And then at the 5, I got the Warriors. I think what I mean, Draymond Green, who knows what goes through bro's head, but like there's no way that your team comes back at any point in the season and is just able to look at their heart and soul and be like, yeah, bro, like we got you, we know that you got us, like it's just that's tough, man. Especially in a guy like Jordan Poole, man. Jordan Poole, like he's a very likable character. Um, he's fun to watch, and he's the future of that. He's the future of the Warriors. That's a guy he has potential to start an All-Star game one day. And when you see Draymond doing something like that, it's almost like he's hating. Like his time is coming to an end, and dudes is taking shine, and the swag is there. Like I just don't like seeing that stuff. But they still got Steph Curry. They still got Poole. Wiggs is great. Wiggs may be a believer. Um, Clay is Clay. I know a lot of people are expecting Clay to return to, prime Clay. I don't think he ever gets back to that point, but I think he'll give you a good 17, 18, play good defense, when he can. And then, just the rest of their younger guys are going to need to step up. But I think they're definitely good enough to get home court advantage. I just don't see them being as high as last year.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I actually, we'll get to our top four teams in a minute. What's it called? No, Golden State. The Draymond thing is kind of crazy. Like, yeah, I'm not sure how you kind of get back to practice and all. They're professionals at the end of the day, and I think the organization knows Draymond and his antics. This definitely got out of hand, and the fact that it got leaked was absurd
Mm-hmm.
and like so public. And I think I'm not defending Draymond, but like the video makes it look way worse than it probably was. And I've seen like other NBA players talk about this where like it's not that this is normal, but that it's not rare and for like dudes to get mad at each other in practice. For Draymond to swing at him is crazy.
Swinging
Like
is, yeah, that's why I'm like,
crazy.
swinging is OD because at that point it
Depending on what
becomes like
happened,
personal almost.
like
Oh
actually,
yeah.
but swinging is absurd, like we said.
I mean,
Uh,
it all just got worse when there's video out there and it went viral and
Yeah.
everybody sees it. Jordan Poole's family seeing it. I mean, their opponents are watching this, seeing what's going on. So, but I think bringing James Wiseman in will make up for that. All that. I think he's gonna be a big piece of this young core, and he's gonna have himself a good season. I'm a big James Wiseman believer, so I think it'll make up for it.
You funny, bro. He said I think James Wiseman gonna compensate for Draymond Green almost giving Jordan Poole a concussion.
I honestly think it will, man, because Steph is still gonna be Steph. He still got his splash brother there, so
Uh-huh.
James Wiseman gonna offset all that for sure, man.
Wiseman's so interesting to me, bro. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't know. That's the thing. I think like that's the most like main thing. Like availability hasn't been available, unfortunately. And when he has, bro, like the Warriors weren't very good when he played, but he didn't look that great to me either. But the potential's still there. Like when I
Yeah,
saw him
he's crazy.
we saw him in summer league, bro. He's a monster. He's a monster,
And,
and he has the skill. And I hope he figures it out. I think he can.
Mhm.
But I have the Warriors at 4.
Okay.
Um, I think they're going to win a lot of games. Steph's there, obviously. We talked about Clay, talked about Draymond, Poole. Um, Wiggs is there. Wiggs might be an all star again. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
I agree.
yeah, for sure.
like Wiggs, yeah, Wiggs made me a believer. I used to be
Wiggs
like,
was good, bro.
And
He's
he's
yeah,
in
good
his
at,
prime right now. People just gave
Mhm.
up on him. He's in his prime
Yeah.
right now.
He's really good at basketball, man. He made me a believer, bro.
yeah, facts. That's completely facts. And then Kuminga is another
Mhm.
like pretty big piece, and he's another guy like he has all the tools and it's all there. Like if he puts it together, it's scary, so scary. Because
Mhm.
Kuminga, he's also a freak.
He's diff, yeah.
Yeah.
And Moody can go get you a bucket too.
Mhm.
Bro, I'd honestly say I think right now Moody's better than Kuminga. That's just my opinion. Moody's tough, bro. Moody's a bucket, bro. He's
Different
a
skill set.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The value of Kuminga on defense is great. But like he still has flaws in his game. I think Moody right now, if he builds on what he has already established, man, like Moody's dangerous, bro. Moody plays in the G League. Whenever they put him in the G League, he always scores 30, 35. It's nothing less, like it's too easy for him. It's just a matter of him getting minutes now.
Mhm.
But yeah,
The Warriors are not like they're not as deep as last year, and so they're still not as deep. But those young guys, like we said, they're gonna have to show something this year.
step
Um,
up. Hell yeah.
I
I mean,
think
they have one of the better young cores for sure.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They're definitely a top 4 team in the West to me. And then at 3, I got the Mavs. Zoe had them low to me, very low. And you had
You have
Val.
6?
I had them at 6, yeah, but I think they do win the first round.
Six is kind of low, not gonna lie.
The West is just loaded though,
It
and
is
like
low.
Exactly.
Mavs falling. The Mavs could fall that low. I don't think they do because they have Luca. You mentioned Brunson leaving, and I agree. Like Brunson gone is gonna make things harder for Luca, but he has dudes. Right,
Hmm.
Spencer Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway, those guys. If they're like, especially if Tim Hardaway's on fire, like they're those guys can get buckets. Christian Wood, I like a lot. Like I think it's kind of yeah. I think it just really depends on how much you like Christian Wood, how much you like Brunson, and I like
Hmm.
both guys. I think the Mavericks have a really good year. Kid's there. I like Kid the coach. So kind of
Dorian,
Dorian. Dorian's there.
one of my favorite players.
Oh man, we couldn't forget about Dorian. That's
Dorian's
right.
tough, bro. That's a winner, bro.
Yeah, he's
That's a winner, bro. He was better than Mikal Bridges in that 7 game series, and that's a big reason why they won, bro. A big, big reason.
Mhm. Yeah, guys
I
like
have the
that up
Mavs.
and down the
Huh?
roster, bro. Guys like that up and down the roster. I feel like.
Yeah,
yeah.
man. Hell
Good. We
yeah.
gave him some love. We didn't want to forget him.
I have the Mavs at 4, bro, just because I think, like Zoe said, bro, it's gonna be tough because it is the Luca show. Um, and in the regular season, you gotta have a bunch of different guys that can score the rock. You gotta have a bunch of different guys that can get up and down. And their roster is a little bit older now. Not super old, but definitely older. And I think, they're complacent with just, with being like a between like a 3 and a 5 seed. Because as they showed last year, they don't need home court to win. Um, but I think we didn't even mention like Maxi Kleber, Reggie Bullock, right? Maxi Kleber averages 2 blocks a game and shoots 40% from three, and he's like 8th or 9th on their depth chart. Reggie Bullock, he was awful a few games last year, but when he's hot, bro, he's hot. Like that boy can really shoot. You get Tim Hardaway back, and then, bro, they got JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee is such a winner. He's such a winner. They're gonna be able to put him out there with Christian Wood. That's 2 7-footers in that paint. Like it's just gonna be so much more fun to watch than these past Mavericks teams. This is Luca's most talented team ever, I'd say, by a wide, wide margin. And I'm excited to watch them. And then J-Lo, who'd you have at 3?
I had the Mavs at 3, Warriors
Yeah,
at 4,
yeah.
Mavs at 3. Zoe, who you got?
Yes.
1 and 3.
Yes.
At 4, I got the Clippers.
Uh-huh.
I like what they got going on with Kawhi and PG coming back. I mean, I think those are two top 10 players. So just by that, they're going to be a top 4 team. And even what they got around them, it's not too bad with John Wall coming in. You got Reggie
Yeah.
Jackson off the bench. So
Mhm.
Clippers going to look solid.
Mhm.
And then
At
at 3, I got Denver. I got
yes.
Denver at 3. I mean, it's Denver. You got Jamal Murray and MPJ coming back.
Mhm.
You got a lot of good role players, and Jokic is just gonna be he's just gonna do what he do in the regular season. So I'm high on Denver.
That team is freakishly talented, bro. I have the Clippers at 3. Um, Kawhi don't play like that. I don't think Paul George plays more than 75 games this year. I don't think John Wall plays more than 70 games this year, but there's nothing wrong with that. Um, I think that their talent alone will get them a top 3 seed. And I think most importantly, like getting into the playoffs healthy, that's when you really got to worry about them. But I definitely think that they'll be a top 3 seed.
Mhm. I agree. The Clippers, they they probably have the deepest team in the league. One of the deepest
I
teams in the
mean,
league. I think
yeah.
look up and down. They have guys. They have pros. They have dudes who have won. Um,
Hmm.
and so yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. Like Kawhi's back. It was weird last year when the Clippers are like good but not good enough, and everyone kind of knows that.
Hmm.
Like with Kawhi, they're almost they're contender level, pretty much
Absolutely.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Kawhi looks like a monster. Have y'all seen that? Like,
Yeah.
his, like,
Have you
bro,
seen that boy's quads? Have you seen that?
what?
He,
He
he's
looked
a
like
freak.
one, bro. He looks like way healthier. Hopefully, he stays healthy. T. Lue is probably one of the best coaches in the league. He's nasty. The Clippers are gonna have a good year for sure.
I agree.
I
I
have
agree.
them at 2. They're my
Okay.
seed. And then Zoe mentioned the Nuggets earlier. They're my 1 seed. We
Hmm.
talk about Jokic. We talk about bro, just what Jokic did last year with the roster that bro, like you could have threw one of us out there. to
Oh
cut,
God.
hit a three or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, bro. Like
We averaging 20.
not hard when you got Jokic, bro. Jokic is almost he's like one of those players where you have him on the roster, you're a top 4 team, or you're gonna make the playoffs for sure. Top 6 team probably. And now with pieces back, MPJ, Jamal Murray, um, and hopefully those guys stay healthy. Hopefully, they bring dudes in. Like it's gonna be fun, real fun. What do you think about the Nuggets, Suba?
And y'all talked about Bones last week too. Let's not
Bones,
forget
bro.
about Bones.
Oh, bro. I have the Nuggets at one also. The Nuggets, I think talent wise, like pure talent, they're a top 2 team in the NBA. They have so much talent. And they're like, it's weird because like they brought in defensive minded guys that can score, which I think is cool. Like they got the Bruce Browns, the KCPs. Bruce Brown had a couple 20 balls. I'm pretty sure in the playoffs last year. KCP, you already know he can knock it down, but like their roster as a whole is built to score 130, 140 points a game. And it's going to be insane this year with a healthy Jamal Murray, a healthy MPJ. That's a team that could have 325 point per game scores if they really want to. So I'm looking forward to watching the Nuggets play. And at 2, I got the Pelicans, man. I think the Pelicans have the perfect regular season roster. They remind me of when Giannis was with the Bucks before Giannis was Giannis. Um, I say that because, they got another 3 guys. I don't think that all 3 of them average 25 a game. I think that's absurd to say, but they definitely average 20, in my opinion, between CJ, Zion, and Ingram. And then, that duo of Zion and Ingram, they'll probably average 25 each. Ingram's a pro. Zion, if he's healthy, we know what he does. And they're just young. And as you saw with the Grizzlies last year, they're a more talented version of the Grizzlies. And they have the playoff experience now. The only one without the playoff experience now is
Is their
is
best player.
is Zion, exactly. You get what I'm saying? And CJ, bro, CJ's a great leader. I get it. He's a combo. He's not a one, but like he's better than D'Lo at what D'Lo does. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's a better version. He's a better leader. He gets it a little bit more. Um, and then I get it. Me and JLo have this conversation a couple times. And like I get it. JV's not a great defender. But one thing is, bro, he's big. He's going to stand in that paint. He's going to rebound. And if he's not doing that, yo, do you see all the studs they have to play defense? They have Jackson Hayes jumps out the gym. He could probably touch the top of the backboard, right? Then you got Herb Jones, who's probably going to lead the league in steals this year. Jose Alvarado in 25 minutes will probably be top 10 in the NBA in steals this year. Trey Murphy can switch everything. Larry Nance is 6'8", 6'9". He moves. He's athletic. You feel me? So it's like, and then they bring in a top 10 pick in Dyson Daniels. You get what I'm saying? And it's like all of a sudden, and they still have, I don't love Devontae Graham, but he's a good backup point guard. And all of a sudden you have a bunch of guys like they can just go. They're just going to go all year long. No matter who gets hurt, no matter what, they're going to have guys that are ready to go, that have playoff experience, that know what it takes to win playoff games. And I just think they're going to be good. Not to mention, I'm a big, big Willie Green fan, man. Willie Green's a dog. Willie
Oh,
Green is a dog, bro. Willie Green is a dog to the point where dudes was saying Suns in 4, just have them play the Mavs, bro. There was a point in that series last year where dudes legitimately thought the Pelicans had a chance to win without Zion playing, bro. And I think that's just a testament to Willie Green, is a testament to how tough the Pelicans are. And I could see them having a year like the Grizzlies did last year for sure. That's
yeah.
my rant. The Pels are like aside from, my team, the Pels are probably my favorite team in the league this year. I like the Pels a lot.
I couldn't tell at all.
Yeah, nah, I know.
Ha.
Yeah, you be talking about the way you be talking about them. Zoe, who you got top 2?
Top 2, I got the Lakers at 1. That's not even a biased pick. I really think having LeBron and AD healthy, yeah, it's not biased at all. It's not biased at all. I think they're the
That's
top
not even
team.
the bias pick.
Collectively,
I just had to make that clear. I honestly think they're that. I have
Yeah.
faith in my guy Westbrook.
Uh-huh.
AD and LeBron. They're still AD, Bron. I like the role players. We don't got a whole bunch of wannabe superstars. We got Carmelo out of here. We got Dwight. We got all them wannabe superstars out of here. We got dudes that are gonna play their role. Pat Bev is gonna be here, leading guys, holding them accountable. I like what the Lakers got going on. I think that's my 1 seed, and I think they end up advancing to the finals later on in the season. And then at 2, I got Golden State. We talked about them a lot. Wiggins in his prime. They got a good young core. Steph is Steph. So that's why I got my top 2.
That's fair, bro.
Man, bro, the West is tough.
It's very tough.
Hard because I feel like so many of these teams. I feel like it'd be easier putting them in tiers, but like so many of these teams could go up and down for me. Um, yeah, bro. There's a lot of talent and a lot of teams. I think to your point about the Pelicans being like the Grizzlies of like last year's Grizzlies this year, I just feel like the West is so different from last year, bro. Like the for like both of the Los Angeles teams, I think should be contending, different from last year. Utah's not there, but bro, like I feel like teams think that they can compete now that like Phoenix isn't a team anymore, but like I feel like there's more teams that can compete this year than last year. That's why I don't think the Pelicans have that great of a year, but they're going to be one of those teams competing for me. So
I
And
think
Dame ain't going back down.
no, he's definitely not. Dame's not a pushover. I say back to your point with the Pelicans. I agree with that the West is tougher, but the Pelicans are also, in my opinion, I think they're not head and shoulders better than the Grizzlies were, but talent wise, they have a lot more to offer than the Grizzlies do. They're not a one trick pony.
mhm.
But we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see. So that was the West. Y'all gonna get me mad when we talk about this, but we could get to the East, I guess.
The East is also really, really talented. This is like it's been so fun the past couple of years, like having a super competitive Eastern Conference. Obviously, with no LeBron,
Mm-hmm.
like having a chokehold over the entire conference.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, every year ain't nobody had a chance. But I mean, super fun. I think. Who do you guys have in at net 10 and 9?
Jayla, you
10 and
go.
9. Go
Oh
ahead.
no,
Go
you
ahead.
go first. No, go ahead, bro. I'm gonna say mine last because I think people's gonna be mad when they hear my 10 and 9. So I don't really, you feel me?
Okay. So 10 and 9. So on the Western Conference 9, we had the Suns, so they're gonna be a title contenders. At the East, we got pretty weak 10 and 9. I got Detroit at 10, the Bulls at 9. Zach LaVine, he needs to make that leap, man. I don't know what's up with him. I think, yeah, he's an all-star. He puts up the numbers, but I need to see him be that leader and that winner. We haven't seen that out of Zach LaVine. Lonzo's gonna be a hurt. So, and then Detroit, I mean, they got a good young team. K leading the way. I like that Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren pick. Sadiq Bey had a 50-point game last year.
Mm-hmm.
So having him at the 3, I'm very confident in that and what they got. And they also have Isaiah Stewart, who I think is a pretty solid player. They got pieces. They got pieces too. I mean, they're gonna be better than the Knicks, the Wizards, Charlotte without Bridges, Magic, Indy. So I got Detroit at 10.
Yeah, I was this close to putting the Pistons in there. For me, they're 11, and they're like super close to being 10. I have Washington at 10, just because I think Beal's back to like 28 a game, nasty, and with like more competent pieces around him, like Monte's
Yeah.
there, Barden, like they have like actual guys, and like the wings that they've had, like Rui, Kyle, Kuz, Denny, and they have pieces. I think they could make that play in, and then at 9. I feel like I'm gonna get some hate for this, bro, but like I don't like Atlanta. Like I just don't. I feel like they're 9, bro. Like they're Trey's there, bro. I think DeJounte's gonna be a somewhat of a good fit, bro, but the rest of the team's just not good. And I'll argue with anybody about that. Atlanta's not a top 8 team in the East. So yeah. That's-
Bro hates Atlanta, bro. He hates Atlanta.
That's crazy.
He hates Atlanta,
Atlanta?
bro. That's
they don't-
his least favorite
Now you can
team.
make an argument. You can make an
He
argument
hates
there.
Atlanta, bro.
I just want to see who he has above them because obviously he has the Raptors.
He loves the Raptors. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it because this boy loves the Raptors too. So
I'll tell you the nice who would.
at 10, And bro, when I tell you they was this close to being put under the Detroit Pistons with Cade Cunningham leading the way, I have the Bulls. I don't like Chicago at all. At all, at all. I can't stand Chicago. I don't think Chicago is really good at anything, if I'm being real with you. And without Lonzo Ball there, bro, like they're just gonna be worse. I question the will to win. You know, DeMar had one good year and he still ended up a 6 seed. I get it, they were injured, but it just feels like he's like complacent being on mediocre teams. You know, as long as he averages his 27, 28 a game. Zach LaVine has never, that was his first time making the playoffs last year. He ain't really shown me too much. No Zoe, you know, Vooch, he's cool, man, but like he was better off being in Orlando. You feel me? He could have at least been an all-star there. Um, so yeah, not a fan. At 9, and this was my little sleeper. I have the Knicks. Um, I think Jalen Brunson, he's definitely not a top 10. He's probably not a top 15 point guard in the NBA, but he's really good. It's no testament to, you know, his skill that he's not top 15 in the league. He's really, really good. And, you know, I almost feel like a team like Minnesota, if they had Brunson, that's somebody that would do significantly more for them than D'Lo. You get what I'm saying? If the Wolves had Brunson, I would have put them at like the 4 or the 3 spot, but they don't. But yeah, I think Brunson elevates RJ's game. RJ is like RJ for the Knicks is like Ant on the Wolves, just on a much, much lower scale. Um, I think RJ averages like 23 a game this year. I think he has a good year. I think Julius Randle, he's not going to be great, but I think he's going to be okay. I think his shot selection is a little bit better with a real point guard. I like Mitchell Robinson in the middle. He just got to stay healthy, and you know they got some young guys that are pretty fun to watch. I can see them, you know, through defense and winning a couple like wire to wire games, not wire to wire, like really close games. Um, I can see them making the 9 seed, at least the play-in, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Knicks were weird for me because, like, I at one end, like, I could completely agree with you, see him competing for like that top 8 team, and then you think of like how bad it could get there.
Yeah, it could get really bad.
It could get really
There,
bad. That's
I would
why.
honestly say, bro, the ceiling for the Knicks is the 9 seed, in my opinion, and I should clarify that. The floor for them is like 13, 14.
Yeah.
I hope New York has a good year though. We'll see.
We gonna
They
see.
might not even win 30 games.
They
Yeah.
might not, bro, but they might win like 44. That's the thing with them. You never know.
High
Mhm.
ceiling, high floor for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
y'all hate on the Bulls, but I think they're better than Atlanta, and I think they're the 8th seed in my opinion. Dude, DeMar had a
Yeah.
crazy year last year.
Yeah.
Like he was hooping, like top 10 player in the league type last year. And I mean Zach, it's weird because like Zach should be like one of the best players in the league, but he's not.
Yeah.
And like which still is kind of weird, but I mean I think it's just health for them, and I that's why I have them low, making the playoffs, but like just low because no Zoe hurts, bro. Like like Zoe would help them so much, and like he's a hometown kid, so obviously I'm gonna root for him at all times. But like he would help them so much. Caruso's back; he's a good piece. Pat Will, we're gonna see how good he is for real. For real, I mean, Super don't like him at all. Monzo,
And Pat Willis.
We say that every year to talk about Patrick Williams gonna do this, Patrick Williams gonna do that, Kobe White gonna do this, Kobe White gonna do that. It's
Kobe
old now.
White's
It's old.
Kobe White's he's a little better than Pat Will. Pat Will Pat Will be underwear, bro. Pat Will is
not
he's
great, bro. But for what it's worth, bro, he could defend 2 through 4. He could shoot it a little bit. I think he just needs to be healthy, but I think the Bulls just need to be healthy. I don't think they're going to win more than any of these 7 other teams that I have in front of them. But I
mhm,
like them more than the 2 teams I listed in front of them. At 7, I got Toronto.
yeah.
I'm a big Raptors guy. I'm a big Nick Nurse guy. Nick Nurse just understands, I think, at like another level than most coaches. He's like knows a lot about the game that some dudes just don't. And then Pascal's there, the versatility there, like we talk about it all the time. Like they just have wings on wings on wings
And
that like
Fred.
like guard and big stuff. So it's freaky. It's freaky out there, and I like it a lot. It's
Mhm.
super cool. Scotty's gonna have a monster year, in my opinion. Scotty, I was like not huge on Scotty, but now I am because he showed me something for sure.
Who's been huge on Scotty though? Let RTP know who's been huge on Scotty and is saying he's gonna be where he is right now since the
Zoe,
high school days.
Zoe has been liking him since high school for sure.
He just
So,
plays with a different energy, man. You don't see a lot of that in high school nowadays. So seeing like the energy and intensity Scotty played with, I thought he was gonna be great. He was gonna translate it to the next level. He could really do everything. So that's
mhm.
always been high on him.
Who do you have at 8 and 7, though?
At 8, I got Toronto for the same reasons you said. 7, I got Atlanta, who you've been critical on. I think with Trey leading the way, they're just gonna win. Trey could just drop 40 in his sleep, and then bringing in Dejounte. I like that. I like that addition. You got Big O coming off the bench. Shout out him. He should be starting over Clint, but Clint's still a good piece nonetheless. So is John Collins, DeAndre Hunter. I like what they got going on over there.
Mhm.
Yeah. At 8, I got the same 8 and 7 as Zoe. I got the Raptors at 8. You know I love the Raptors, man. The East is just tough.
Yeah.
The East is just tough. I think the NBA 5 years from now is gonna look like what the Raptors have out there, a bunch of 6'8", 6'9" wings with one guard and one shooter. Um, but yeah, I like them. I like Nick Nurse. It's a lot of talent in the East.
Mhm.
At 7, I got Atlanta. DeJounte Murray is really good at basketball. Um, and he's gonna be great for them. I think Trey Young's ceiling got so much higher when they picked him up. I still think they're a flawed team, and I can see why J-Lo doesn't like them, but I don't think that they're gonna struggle for the same reasons that J-Lo does. I think Trey and Murray are gonna be great together. I don't love DeAndre Hunter, but I like him enough to say that he's like a viable option. Hopefully, he has like a Mikal Bridges type year. Um, and yeah, Capella not the answer. John Collins isn't the answer, but they'll be fun to watch. I think they'll probably win like 45, 46 games this year.
Mhm. At
So we
6,
get in the top 6, baby. This is where it gets spicy right here. This
Yeah,
top 6. This is where it gets
this is
spicy.
that
Just a heads
this is
up.
that BS right here.
Nah, these are all contenders right here. Let's make
They
that
are
clear.
contenders,
You could
yeah.
put them in any order and it doesn't matter.
yeah, I think that's fair to make that clear. Like these 6, I think we're like a for sure 6. From the other dudes, and like the Atlantas, the Chicago's, the Torontos. I think those are like they're in their tier, like that own little tier outside of that 6, right outside of that 6. Um, and last year you could probably say it was 5 teams that were in this tier, but definitely one team jumped into this top 6. At 6, I got Boston, um, the Celtics,
Oh man.
because because
Ime! Roof, roof.
uh, it's just I'd like I want to believe in them to win more games. I don't think they take the regular season as serious as some of these other teams in front of them, and that's why I think they fall a little bit. Because realistically, they're probably going to do really well in the playoffs, and they are one of the better teams in the East. But they're going to finish 6th in the East because the Ime situation kind of weird. We can get to the coaching and stuff, but also no Rob Will. I think is going to hurt a lot. And then we're still, I mean, you add a couple pieces, see how that works. The whole Brogdon Smart thing, who plays, who doesn't. Not sure if that matters to them, but it might, and you never know. So I mean, there's just a couple question marks that I have with them from other teams. They just made the finals, but I have them at 6, and at 5 I have Brooklyn. But we'll get into everybody else's. What you got at 6 and 5, though?
6, I also have Boston. Sorry about that, Super, but they just not better than these top 5 teams, in my opinion. Tatum. Is Tatum the best player in the East? Maybe, besides Giannis. But Jalen Brown's a good piece. I like these top 5 teams in front of them. I just do. It's just hard. Like these top 6 teams could go. So to have Boston at 6 after making the finals and sweeping the Nets and beating all the teams that they did, it was tough to put him at 6 right here, but I'm gonna do it. This one's a little bit of a biased pick. I'm gonna put Boston at 6, and then at 5 I got Cleveland.
Hmm.
You got
Yeah.
that Garland leading the way. The addition of Spida, you got just 2 bucket getters right there. Evan Mobley's gonna make that jump this year. Expect a most improved player type of year. All defensive team. I mean, Mobley's potential is through the roof. His potential is through the roof. So I like what the Cavs got going. You still got Jarrett Allen. Um, I don't know about Isaac Okoro running that 3. I did like having Laurie Markin in there, but I mean, you got to give that up to get a player like Spider. So I think the Cavs are going to be nice this year. I'm excited for them. I'm going to be tuning into a lot of Cavs games for sure. And I haven't said that since Brown left.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna save my Celtics comments for later. I just want to let it be known that both of these guys are born and raised in LA, in SoCal, lifelong Lakers fans. But yeah, nah, at 6 I have Brooklyn. Um, I don't think Brooklyn got worse, but I don't think they got better. They got TJ Warren. Um, I think he's gonna help them. But I think Ben Simmons is coming back. That's obviously a big deal. But I think that Kyrie, I gotta see him play games. KD's older now, you feel me? Like I gotta see him play games. Their biggest thing with them is I gotta see him play games. I gotta see him care, act like they want to win because we saw how, it's easy when you're winning to want to be there and do well. You saw as soon as things, kind of hit the fan for them last year. James Harden wanted out. They got a couple other guys. Ben Simmons didn't even want to play, you know. So, Kyrie wasn't out there. He was BSing whatever he was doing. So we'll see, man. But I think they have enough talent they'll definitely avoid the play-in this year. I don't think they stay in the play-in. And at 5, I also have Cleveland. Um, Cleveland is great. That 3 spot is a big gap for them though. And it's not really a gap because they have like, a lack of talent there. I think Levert is a guy that's capable of scoring 20 on any night. Okoro is a good defender. I don't love Okoro, but he gets the job done on occasion. I just feel like when your 2 lead guards, your 2 guys that are going to be all-stars are are 6'1", which both are. And then the next jump in that lineup, like for capable defenders, is like, it's only like 6'5", 6'6". You get what I'm saying? And then you don't have any other wings out there. You're throwing out 2 7-footers. It's gonna be tough when they play bigger teams.
Mhm.
Because all you really have to do is go bigger in your backcourt. And I think they're gonna struggle with teams like the Nets, like the Raptors, like the Celtics that have bigger guys handling the ball, that's going to be tough for them. But we'll see. They definitely have enough talent and firepower on offense to get up into that top 4. So we gonna see.
Yeah, definitely. I'm talk about the Nets first. I have them at 5, and they're like one of the teams where like similar to who were we talking about earlier? They're like very boomer bust, kind of like last year. Like we saw it happen where they imploded, and it was just things got pretty ugly, very quickly too. But also things could be like they could be a 1 seed if like KD's having an MVP year, Kyrie's averaging 29, Ben plays both sides of the ball, he figures it out, and like they're nasty. Steve Nash figures it out. But yeah, I have them at 5. They should. I think they're gonna have a good year, better than last year for sure.
Mhm.
And similar to the comments you made. And then Cleveland, I agree with both of you guys. I think one thing that I think hasn't been mentioned is I think they're going to play hard during the whole regular season just because they are young and they're fun. And it's like they're interesting to talk about. And that hasn't been said about Cleveland like ever, unless
Mhm.
LeBron was in uniform. And so
Yeah.
I think it's super fun for them. Garland is like one of my favorite players in the league. So I'm definitely gonna be watching a lot of Cavs games. He's super tough. The 6'1" thing's crazy, and the 2 7-footer thing's kind of crazy. But I think they figured it out. Who's the coach there? Is it JB?
JB Bickerstaff, yeah.
Yeah, he's been in the league forever, and I think he did a good job last year. He's probably gonna do a better job this year.
Hmm.
Um, and then last thing about Okoro, not that he's not capable. Like they have a guy there. He's gonna have to figure it out, and I think he's gonna have to figure it out quick. Like if it might be this year, kind of to like the D'Lo thing, kind of like you got to make it work, or else they're gonna find somebody who will.
Hmm.
And I have hope that he is that guy. I think they're gonna win a lot of games. I think they finished 4, or excuse me. I have Cleveland at 4. That gets us into our top.
Who's 5?
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn? Yeah. You said that. Yeah.
Boston 6. I have Cleveland 4, and Milwaukee 3. So who do you
Mhm.
guys have at 4 and 3?
Go ahead,
At
Joe.
4, I have Philly, and at 3, I got the Bucks. I think both of these teams are capable of winning 60 games, but I think they just fall a little bit short. I like the Nets more than them. I think the Heat have an easier schedule than these teams, so I think that's going to benefit them having to play in their Cake conference four times a year. All those teams that they got to play, so I think that'll benefit them. But I think Philly and the Bucks 4 and 3, Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, being the two sidekicks for Giannis. I think those are. I mean, they got championship DNA in them. You still got Brooke Lopez, Bobby Portis. I mean, you got a lot of the same guys. I think they would have won the championship last year had Chris Middleton not got hurt. So I think they'll come back. And Philly, man, Philly's just stacked all around. I mean, with Maxey and Harden, you got Tobias Harris still, Joel Embiid. The only thing about Philly that's really their issue is just they've never been able to get over that hump. And maybe that's the same case this year, but I think in the regular season, they'll be pretty solid. I am worried about them in the playoffs, though, because they are Philly.
Yeah. They definitely have weaknesses that one could exploit. Um, at the 4, I have Miami. I like Miami. I love, they made me a believer too last year. Just because they play hard, but Jimmy Butler don't care about the regular season, bro. And like they lost PJ Tucker and they didn't do anything to improve their roster. Um, I'm not a huge Tyler Hero guy. I know J-Lo loves Tyler Hero. I think he could be doing more for them. Like, why are you making 30 mil a year and coming off the bench is beyond me. But yeah, I think they still have a solid roster. They're definitely gonna be able to compete with anybody in the league. That's for sure. They're tough. They defend for sure, but on nights where they're not shooting the ball well, I think it's gonna be tough for them because they don't have a ton of offense. And then at 3, I also have Philly. Philly definitely got better. I like them a lot. I think Philly's biggest problem is they're the 76ers, and the 76ers just haven't had too much luck in the past few years. You give them the best roster in the league, they've lost. You know what I'm saying? You give them the worst roster in the league, they lost. So, like, one thing about Philly is Philly gonna find a way to lose, but I think James Harden has a bounce back year. I think Maxey averages 18, 19 a game. I think Joel Embiid is a top 5 player in the NBA. I think him, Giannis, and Tatum are probably the 3 best players in the East right now. So, and Kevin Durant too. So those top 4 guys. And yeah, I think they'll be good in the regular season for sure. They got some guys that can go, but like Zoe said, once you get to the playoffs, it's a different talk.
So you mentioned top 4. How you feeling about Embiid then? You feel like he's not in that tier with those guys?
No, I definitely do. I think he might even be the best out of the 4, if I'm being real with you. But Embiid be losing, bro. He is a
Yeah.
he's a chronic loser. And he was hurt last year, but you gotta win. You gotta win. You gotta find ways to win. All of those other guys have been in the finals before, so I gotta see him win. And I'd argue that their teams haven't been as talented as some of the teams that Embiid has had. We're not gonna act like Embiid didn't have. He had Simmons, Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler. How are you losing series with Jimmy Butler in the playoffs to teams that their second best player was Pascal Siakam? Like, come on, man. A young Pascal Siakam, because Pascal is good, But Pascal Siakam 3 years ago compared to Pascal Siakam now, I think we can all agree it's night and day. And they just lost. I was like, bro, how? How? Plus, Doc Rivers is awful. I can go on about why Philly has, why Philly will lose games, but talent-wise, I think they're similar to the Clippers in the sense that they have enough talent to be top 3 in the East just off of that alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like Philly a lot more. I think we all like Philly. You guys have pointed out reasons why they lose. I think they're going to win though, a lot more than they have. I think Embiid's learning to win. He could be a winner, and I think this year's the year where they have the right pieces around him. He's had those years where like there's pieces, but they just don't win. And I think this is the year. That's why I have them a little higher than you guys. Milwaukee's at 3 for me. It's for Zoe as well. And I have the Heat right in front of Milwaukee at 2. But Milwaukee's going to have a good year again. Of course, they have Giannis. You have Giannis. You're a top 4 team in whatever conference you're in. Budenholzer's there. He's done it. He showed he could coach them. He can coach around Giannis. They have the right pieces still. I mean, they've looked the same for the past 3 years or so, or 4 years, however long they've been contenders. But that's the thing; they're contenders. I think they don't take the regular season as serious as they did maybe 2 years ago, but they're still going to win a lot of games. I think Giannis probably finishes top 3 in MVP voting for like the 6th year in a row or whatever. But Milwaukee's at 3 for me. They get it done for sure. Miami's at 2 for me, and I hear the like not great on offense, and it showed it really showed in the playoffs, especially when things got slow. They tried giving it to Bam, tried giving it to everybody else, and it's just Jimmy kind of like running around out there. And then Hero, if he can't score, it gets really ugly for them on the offensive side. But they have one of the best coaches in the league, in my opinion. Spoelstra,
Mm-hmm.
he knows how to coach for sure. He might be like I think in the GM poll he was number 1. Like
Mm-hmm.
all the GMs ranked him 1, which I when I started thinking about it, like he might be one of the like better coaches in the league. But um, they just compete too. Like they compete. Maybe Jimmy doesn't like every regular season game, but everybody else does. And I think they're going to win a lot of games. They're going to get a 2 seed just because other teams don't take it as serious as them. Who do you guys got at 2-1 then? Because you guys don't have Philly.
Let me go first, so Supa can get his last word in.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's a team we haven't talked about in a while, so we'll let him get on his rant about that. So at 2, I got Miami for the same reason you do, J Lo. I love Spoelstra. I love what they do. Like when you could go in and you could plug in like a Max Drews, and they plugged in. Who's the other dude they had starting? They
Oh,
had
Gabe Vincent.
Gabe
Yeah.
Vincent. Yeah, I mean you
He's
plug in
tough.
Gabe Vincent and Max Drews. Like these are 2 dudes that just came out of nowhere. I love the trust that Spo puts in his guys. Like he's just gonna coach and put his team in the best position to win. He doesn't care how much money Duncan Robinson makes. If Tyler Hero's not gonna do the job, he's not gonna put him in. And I mean that's really how it should be, right? Like we know these dudes get big contracts and all, but I mean you got to put the best guys that are ready, and that's what Spoelstra does. And the Heat are always coming in prepared to win games and make a playoff run, and that's what I love about Miami. So as long as Spoelstra's there and Jimmy's leading the way, and you got Bam as a sidekick, they're always gonna compete. And PJ Tucker was a big loss, but they'll find something to make up for it, like they usually do. And at 1, I'm a big Nets believer. I think they become the 1 seed. You got KD, assuming Kyrie plays a good chunk of games. I want to see him at least play 80% of games. He plays 80% of games. I think the Nets are the 1 seed. Ben Simmons is gonna come in and he has a lot to prove, and I hope he does prove that, especially because I'm a big fan of dudes who have a lot of haters on them, like Russ, Ben, and I think that they have big seasons. They're constantly getting clowned on Twitter and social media. I think they ball out, and they got the team around them to do it too. It's not like they're the main guy anymore. So the Nets, they're my 1 team. And then, like you said, T.J. Warren, Bruce Brown was a big loss. But I think just having Katie and Kyrie at the lead, I mean, those are 2 bucket getters. They could both go out and get you 40. That's 80 points of your team, right? Then TJ and Ben being a big acquisition on defense. Who's their center? Is it Claxton?
Claxton, yeah.
I mean, that's an upgrade over Drummond
Mhm.
because of what he brings defensively. So yeah, I like the Nets. That's my 1 seed. Now the floor is all yours, Tupa.
I'm not. Nah, I don't have to rant, man. I don't at all. I just think like, and I told my dad this the other day. You know, like I have the Celtics at 2, and I think they could easily be 1, and I think they could easily be 6 for the reasons that JLo said. You know, like maybe they do care, maybe they don't. You know, but the Celtics have been to 4 of the last 6 Eastern Conference Finals. You get what I'm saying? And that's with 19 and 20-year-old guys as their best players. Now, like Jason Tatum, we can all agree is a top 10 player in the league. You can make an argument Jaylen Brown's a top 20 guy in the league. No Rob Will is going to hurt, and you got to see how they supplement that. Maybe they go small and just play really, really, really small. You feel me? Because they could. Maybe they try to have some guys step in that haven't particularly gotten too many minutes. But either way you look at it, man, they're just talented, bro. They have a lot of talent, and they got Malcolm Brogdon. And it sucks that Gallo tore his knee, but they got a guy right now. I don't know if you've been watching. He's shooting like 50-60% from 3. He plays the 4. Sam Hauser, do you guys remember him? He went to Virginia.
Yeah.
He's been shooting the hell out of the ball. I don't think he's going to be Gallo by any means, but that's just, plug and chug system. I don't think Blake Griffin is the answer whatsoever, but you feel me? It's a different look because I don't think he's the answer at all. You get what I'm saying? But it's a different look. It's a guy, he led the league in charges last year. You feel me? And it just shows the culture. And I think that the Celtics, they're just good, man. They're just a really good basketball team, and that they're a tough team to gauge because at the point that they're at now, you don't know how serious they're going to take the regular season because we can all agree that they can beat any team in the NBA.
For
And I
sure.
think that regardless of where you put them, that they have the talent to do so. It's just a matter of coming out and doing it. And I think a year after being in the finals, you got guys that are a little bit more focused. And the Ime, that's its own story. I don't even want to get into that.
What
Um,
about that Blake Griffin story? You heard about that?
yeah, that was kind of OD too.
You seen
We
this
got
kid and look just
we
like
got a
him?
bunch we got a bunch of freaking rock stars in Boston, right? Like that's the freaking where all the cool kids go, I guess. But nah, like coach, we gonna see what coach got in his bag. We gonna see how they respond. But if there's a roster in the league that's ready to, respond to it, they got good leaders, they got Smart, they got Brogdon, they got Al. JT's been there like 4 times, 4 times now to the conference finals. Same things with JB. So, if they struggle this year, I think it's gonna be because the league adjusts to them. Even though they're a defensive minded team. Um, which is also another reason why I think they always gonna have a chance is because they can defend any team in the league, or they at least have a chance to. Um, but if they struggle this year, I don't think it's gonna be for the reasons people think. I think maybe knock on wood, teams get injured, stuff like that happens. But talent wise, they're gonna be all right. And then at 1, I got Milwaukee. They have the best player in the world. And they're just tough, man. Like Milwaukee's just a good basketball team, man. They got winners top to bottom. You know, they got I think what LA has with AD, and then you try to throw like another 7-footer out there like Damian Jones. I think Milwaukee has that on steroids with Brook Lopez. He's not as good as he used to be, but he's still 7 feet tall. He'll still make an open 3-pointer. Um, Bobby Portis is a dog. Drew Holiday is a winner. Chris Middleton's a winner. They just have winners, man. They remind me a lot of the Las Vegas Aces. Um, if you feel me, if the Aces were an NBA team, I think they'd beat the Bucks because it's just the same dynamic. And then Bud just figured it out, and I think they're comfortable with each other. I think the thing that separates them from a lot of other teams in the league is like I look at Miami not making any additions, and I'm like, that's tough because they could have needed that, to get over the hump. They've been over the hump. They just gotta win. I think Milwaukee is. I'd put them in that, that top 5, maybe even top 3, probably top 3 teams in the league right now. You know, you can throw any mix of teams in there, and you gotta mention Milwaukee. So that's why I have them at 1.
I agree. I agree for all the same reasons. I think your guys' conference actually seemed pretty similar with certain teams, like at certain spots. Just
Mm-hmm.
maybe a couple teams that like swapped for you too.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't like Atlanta. And yeah, it's cool. Who do y'all think is the tougher conference? Now that we've gone 1 through 10, um, who do you guys think? Who would you
Why don't
choose?
Why don't you answer that question, Jayla?
Yeah.
You went last. You went last every time this episode. Why don't you go first this time and tell us
Yeah,
who
let's
you?
hear your
I
input,
went
J-Lo.
second a couple of times. I I think, and honestly, I don't even think it's that close. I think the West is tougher than the East for surely. Just because one teams are healthy now, Denver lost both LA teams. I think they have the better players, which you could argue, but between Braun, Steph, Luca, Ja, I could keep going. Jokic, I didn't even mention Jokic. Like as the first 4 guys that came to my mind, I think they're tougher. I also think they have better young talent in the West. I think Jalen Green's fun, Ant's fun, Chet if he plays like that or when he plays, Zion. Like the West is just a lot tougher in my opinion. Just better teams, better players, better young guys. And that's why I think they're tougher.
Sexton.
Sexton's now in the West.
You got your boy Jared Vanderbilt on this team.
JV and yeah, I can't believe in Utah, bro.
They're not gonna lose as much as people think they are, unless they purposely tank. But I think there's teams that just naturally aren't as good, like the Spurs and the Thunder, who are gonna lose way more games than the Jazz. The Jazz, if you look at their roster, they actually have like not gonna make the playing spot, but they're not gonna lose 60 games either.
Mhm.
They definitely win some games, and I think they're gonna, teams are gonna underestimate them and end up losing a few games in the process just because they're not good, at all, but they're not like you know what I'm saying. They're not the Thunder. They're not the Spurs. They're not the Magic. They're better than those teams in my opinion.
Mhm.
And you know what? Sexton had the Cavs winning games when Garland was hurt. Before
Mm-hmm.
they had Mobley and all that, Sexton had him competing against the top teams. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one dude that a lot of basketball fans we don't give him enough love. So I'm just gonna give my flowers to Colin, OKC. I mean, they just in tank mode every year. Y'all got to just start winning at this point. Y'all got all these picks from all these teams. There's no point of tanking anymore. I mean, Czech going down was unfortunate, but I mean, if they're trying to get Victor or Scoot, I don't know what's going on with OKC. Houston's fun. I love KPJ. I think the West overall though is more competitive, just due to the fact that I think the Blazers are the 11th best team, and when you got Dame and Jeremy Grant leading the way with Anthony Simons, and you're gonna tell me that that's the 11th best team, yeah, that's a tough conference because the Blazers are much better than the Knicks. Sac, I already said what I had to say about them. And then I think 1 through 9 in the West are all championship contenders. I think the Suns are still a contender. And the East, I like the top 4 and 5 and 6. But after that, I don't really see anyone else contending. I don't see Atlanta contending. The Raptors ain't here to contend, neither are the Bulls. But I do like the top. The top of the East, I believe, is better than the top of the West. I think the West is just better overall.
Mhm.
I agree with that exact point. Um, I say that the East is the tougher conference because I think the top 6 teams in the East are better than the top 6 teams in the West. And I think that when you're talking about tougher, like if you're going out there in the playoffs and you're thinking like, damn, I gotta play them, I gotta play them, I gotta like I don't think that teams fear playing the Suns in 7 games anymore. I definitely don't think they fear playing the Wolves in 7 games. I don't think they fear the Grizzlies in 7 games. You feel me? I don't think they fear the Blazers. They don't fear. You get what I'm saying? And then you go up a little bit, and it's like the teams are very good, but some of those teams are very flawed. Like The Nuggets are great. They can't guard a parked car. The Pelicans are, and this is just off of my list. The Pelicans are great. They're super young. You get what I'm saying? The Clippers are great. They have no size at all. The Mavs are great. In the playoffs, it's the Luka show. The Warriors are great. I think that's the one team that, you might say has no flaws, but their bench got worse. They don't have a lot of size. I think they're still flawed. And then who do I have? The Lakers. The Lakers, man, make Russ shoot. Do something, man. Make somebody other than LeBron or AD beat you if they're healthy at that point in the year. And I think you just look at the East top six, like, the Hawks, the Raptors, they're fun to watch. We know they're not contenders, like Zoe said. The Knicks, the Bulls, the Pistons, they're gonna be fun to watch, except for maybe not even the Knicks or the Bulls, but they're gonna win some games. But when you look at the top six, the Bucks, NBA champs, they've won it. Celtics, they just made it last year. The Sixers got arguably the best big man in the league. They got a guy that's probably going to come back and average 25, 10, and 8. You feel me? The Heat, they just went to the finals. They were Eastern Conference Finals last year. The Cavs just took the second best two guard in the league, and they're the third best two guard in the league, and threw him on a roster with arguably the best floor general in the league, not named Chris Paul. And then the Nets have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. You get what I'm saying? Like, and that's not to say that those teams aren't flawed, but we know how it gets when it gets to the playoffs. You feel me? We know how it gets when it gets to the playoffs. I think all those teams can play defense. I think all those teams have first options that are just like, oh my God, when it comes to the playoffs. And I just think that with the exception of the Cavs and the Sixers, all those other teams have been there or they have guys that have been there. You feel me? And so I think that's why I would pick the East, just the simple fact that, like, if I had to bet on a conference producing a champion this year, I would put my money on the East as opposed to the West. But I do agree that the West is deeper than the East. The West, top to bottom, is deeper than the East.
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely see a champion coming out that East. And what's crazy to think is that, we talked about the top 6 teams in the East. Like, either one or two of those teams are not making it out the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty wild to think of. But then in the West too, you could face the Suns or the T-Wolves or the Pelicans in the first round too,
Yeah.
who pretty scary. But yeah, the fact that you got title contenders who may not even make the first round is, I think the playoffs this year in the East is all gonna be based off of circumstance, like who's getting hurt, all that stuff. It's not gonna come down to like who's better. It's gonna come down to
Mm-hmm.
injuries and all that stuff.
It's strategic, man. It's so strategic in the East, I feel like, because all these teams are going to be close, right? The standings are not, it's not a team that's 10 games ahead anymore. All these games are close. And so you get into the final games of the season and you're like, you're just trying to figure out who you want to play for 7 games. And for some of these teams, like, you're not going to be able to escape that. You're going to have to play, like, if you got to decide whether you want to play Philly, Miami, or Boston, like, bro, like, you feel me? Like, that's not a place you want to be in. But say you get the 1 seed and there's a team that, like, I mean, for example, last year, like, teams were ducking Brooklyn. You feel me? Like, ducking Brooklyn. Who was the 6th seed last year? Chicago. Teams wanted to play Chicago, and Chicago was the higher seed. You get what I'm saying? Like, that was by far the weakest team in the playoffs, I would say.
By
Maybe
far.
from like the Hawks. And it's like teams was really trying to figure out, who am I gonna bench? Who's gonna play today? You get what I'm saying? Like, teams was trying to figure that out, because it's like, that you could lose in 4 straight games and end up with the wrong team in the East. That's how bad it gets really, really fast.
I like that we're even having a conversation about this because it's fun when like both conferences are just loaded.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of talent, a lot of really good teams, a lot of good coaches. Um, it just depends. I think also like to a certain extent, maybe play style, I don't think is as big of a difference as it has probably been. But like, yeah, no, it's really fun. Not knowing, like you said, who's gonna be where at the end of the season, and just us predicting, us shouting names, us hating on teams, us liking having extreme bias to certain
Yeah,
teams. So
absolutely.
it's super cool, super fun.
Yeah, it's all
Absolutely.
gonna come down to matchups this year, man. I mean, the game of basketball is about matchups. It's what
Mhm.
team matches up well against what team, and that's gonna be the team who comes to the top. There's no team that's clearly better than anybody,
Mhm.
and I think that's super fun. It's gonna be a fun season for sure. As long as nobody, we don't have any major injuries, like any start first to first option, the fourth option is getting hurt, which it will happen. But as long as we don't have that, we keep it minimized. It's gonna be a great season.
Yeah, man. Last year started the balanced NBA era, in my opinion. The league was finally balanced again. So now if you lose, it's your fault, man. You can't blame it on
Yeah.
no like super mega teams, no team having 3, 4 all-stars, like you gotta get to it now. And I'm excited to watch this year, see how things unfold, see how teams do, because this year is gonna be something really, really dope. I don't think we haven't had a season like this in a while where it felt like it was like you know, anybody's to take.
And besides the Spurs and maybe Charlotte, these bottom teams could take some games away from these teams that we're talking about. Like the Magic with the team they got, they could get some wins over these playoff teams. I think Houston, Blazers, the Knicks, like you mentioned, even Indiana, they could get some wins over. And I think the league is finally ready to uh, add some expansion teams with how deep just how global the game of basketball is. There's so much talent around the world, like I mentioned earlier. It's cool to see all these players showcasing their talents and then seeing how they could play more long. The longevity's there now. It's better than it's ever been. You got LeBron at year 20, still being LeBron, and Steph is in his 30s. You got KD, so it's just fun where the game of basketball is going.
I agree, man. I agree.
I think that wraps up RTP episode 2 of our podcast. My lighting's gone, bro. Have you been seeing it disappear the whole?
Yeah, I was like, bro, why is the screen so dark?
I've been up with daylight my whole time, bro, and now it's gone. That was a fun episode, though.
Yeah,
Everybody, we're gonna post this on YouTube, post on Instagram. We'll post shorter clips to TikTok, all at Run the Point. And yeah, man, we'll be continuing to push out content. Hopefully next week, all in person, which would
Yeah,
be more vibey, more, um, and I think also interactive with you guys too, because we want to eventually get questions from our followers. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for joining. Go work, team.
absolutely.
Yeah.
did we mention why we're not in person?
Well, Soup is across the globe right now.
I am. I'm on the East Coast right now.
Tap
Yeah.
in, let them know where you at, Super.
I'm in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. So I'm
He's
about an hour.
Massachusetts.
Yes, sir. About an hour west of Boston, my hometown. Shout out Massachusetts. Shout out the East Coast. Shout out, man. Shout out the South. No, I'm playing. But nah, this has been fun, man, and I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully, being back in person. It'll be fire, man. It'll be fire. So
Oh,
happy
for
that
sure.
our guy Manzo could join us today. This was fun. Thank you
Super
for.
fun.
I'm looking forward to just keep building.
And then J-Lo, we got to tap in, let them know where we coming from.
You know where I'm at, yo.
You know where we at.
I'm home, yo. I came home for the weekend. We had a little fall break. I went home. Super went home.
Uh-huh.
Um, but nah, super. Can't wait to. I mean, be in LA next weekend will be fun.
Oh
So,
yeah.
mhm.
That's
Yeah.
fun, man. We got two LA natives, and we got a Boston native talking about
Yo,
hoops
I'm
right
not
now.
from Boston, yo. I'm
Massachusetts.
not from Boston. No, you ain't heard the accent. That's because I'm not from there. I'm from Fitchburg, Massachusetts. They could keep. Nah, they can't. Boston's great. I love Boston, but I'm not from Boston. Shout out the Celtics. Shout out the Patriots. They won 29-0. Red Sox are awful.
But yeah, nice,
And
man.
yeah, man. Ben Trill, RTP. We'll see y'all.
Yes, sir.